Welcome back to this very special Real Talk show, live from the University of East London. Got a little audience here, selected audience. Coming up, we've got some newspaper stories that we'd like to share with you. But next up, we are talking about university degrees. You can still let us know, by the way, what you think about the government's plans to arm police officers here in the UK with tasers. Taser guns are already used, but by a very small minority. The idea is to roll them out to a lot more police officers. You can still let us know if you think that's a good or an irresponsible thing. Here's how you do: realtalk@otv.co.uk. Send us the email, or you can tweet us at OTV, or go via our Facebook page, OTV Facebook page. And we're delighted that Real Talk has been nominated for a TV International TV Award for Best Talk Show, so we're very happy about that. Right, I've got a great panel. Some have left and some new ones. We're talking about degrees because we're here at university, and recent research from the Office for National Statistics has showed that nearly half of all graduates in the UK are in non-graduate jobs, not requiring a degree. So, do degrees matter anymore? Have you used yours? Or was it, in hindsight, not really a must-have for the job that you're doing now? Do email us, realtalk@otv.co.uk. We've still got David Icke here, author and broadcaster, but joining him on the panel is Seyi Akiwowo. I've got it right. Labour councillor here in Newell. Can you give a welcome her to Real Talk? Fantastic. And alongside you, let me just quickly get my massive notes. We've got Femi, who is part of the university here of East London, the Director of Employability, MBE, Femi Bola. Hello, Femi. There we go. MBE! MBE! Thank you, ladies, for joining us. We will talk about degrees as well, but just to recap about tasers, obviously the general election coming up in May could be a big year for Labour. What do you think about the ideas of arming more police officers with tasers?
Completely against it. I agree with what David said earlier in the before. You just have to look over the pond and look at America, who have guns, and how many people have died at the hands of guns, and who they tend to be. Desmond talked about disproportionately being ethnic minorities, and I fear that could be the case here.
Wouldn't tasers be safer? There are only 10 deaths here in the UK by a taser gun as opposed to...
If the police are voting for it and that's what they really want, and we have to have it, and evidence is supporting that it's going to work, then I want there to be proper regulation and process in place that citizens are empowered to make complaints. At the moment, we stop and search, we don't know our rights, and so we allow certain people, allow police to just to stop them and face criticism. So I want, if we have to have this, I would like to see citizens empowered to make complaints if necessary.
Right, let's talk degrees now, because astonishing statistics that basically say nearly half of people with degrees didn't really need them. Did you? realtalk@otv.co.uk, that's the way you email us. David, are degrees relevant anymore? We're sitting in the University of East London, so we've got to be careful, but are they relevant?
Oh, I'm never careful. Gandhi was once asked what he thought of Western civilization, and he said, "I think it would be a very good idea." If you ask me about education, I would reply, I think it would be a very good idea, because we do not have an education system. We have a programming system.
You're Director of Employability at University of East London, what we're sat in. Are degrees relevant anymore?
Absolutely.
Tell him.
Absolutely. Degrees are relevant. If you look what's happening in the world at the moment, there is a thirst for higher level skills. Higher level skills come out of the university system. Many of the jobs that that didn't require degrees don't exist anymore. Those roles are being replaced by technological advances. So, for example, things like payee clerks that used to be working banks, and that was seen as a good career. That doesn't exist anymore. There's a computer program that does that, and it's a graduate that wrote that computer program.
Are you convinced? Is she convinced you that degrees
matter?
matter?
With the greatest respect, what you're trying to convince me of is that it's good to learn things. I'm not against people learning things. I'm against the education programming machine as it is now, summed up brilliantly by Albert Einstein, who said everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will go through its whole life believing it's stupid.
So what's the point?
The point is that the education system is operating in such a narrow band of what it is demanding or trying to bring out from people that their endless potential never gets tapped.
Okay. Can we just quickly go to Lee first, and then was there Lee? Okay, sorry, Lee.
Well, I have 2 teenage children, and the question is not if they're going to university, but just which university they're going to and what degree they're going to do. Because to enter the job market now, for any decent job, you have to have a degree. And whether it's relevant or irrelevant is an irrelevant question. You must have a degree to get a decent job.
Have we got any students here or graduates who are leaving this year or who feel confident they can get a job?
Yeah,
what are you studying?
I'm doing film production.
Uh-huh.
I am confident taking on the course, I will get a job. But let's stick to the premise of the question. Are degrees relevant? Yes, of course, degrees are relevant. But what David is saying, in effect, is right. When you look at the education system, there's an awful lot of people out there studying things that are not going to get them a job necessarily, or studying things that they want to look like the Johns, or talking about what university you went to now. Let's take an example of Germany. In Germany, when the recession broke out in 2008, there was this whole, I read an article in the Telegraph, and you find that in Germany, they really focus on apprenticeships. Now, there is a stick. All right, you find in Germany, it's more about equipping people with vocational skills, and that is what is more important than going to get a degree.
Okay, so
anyway.
should we be doing that? And do let us know, did your degree help you get the job? I mean, to be honest, my first job was working with this man, David Icke, but I did a master's in sport, but to be honest, in sport and media, but to be honest, it was a chance meeting with someone who worked in TV that got me a job. It wasn't the fact I had a master's or a degree. It was just who I knew. And that's the honest truth. And to be honest, in television, that happens a lot. But let's talk about apprentices, and we'll come to you, Arrett, because you work with apprenticeships. Do you think we are moving towards a different type of educational existence where people want vocational experience, Femi? They don't want the piece of paper necessarily.
I think it's a case of one size doesn't fit all. For some people in our society, apprenticeships will be exactly the right route for them. They'll learn while they're earning, and that will suit them, it will suit where they want to go. For others, degree is absolutely the way for them to go. There are certain jobs that we've outlined where you have to have a degree.
Well, we had Lauren on, who's a lawyer. She needs to have
medicine, law, accountancy, where there are certain skills, and they're high-level skills.
Did you get a degree?
Yes.
And it helped you with your job?
Absolutely. And also, a degree is about learning. The degree I had was completely different to what I do now, which shows that my skills are transferable. I trained as a biochemist, and now I'm doing this. And now I'm sitting on your TV programme and talking about these things. And it's about being an articulation of your experience.
Did you have a degree, David?
I left school at 15. I never took a major exam except an end-of-year class exam in my life. I've now written 24 books and researched in 60 countries without any of that. Why? Because I chose to learn and to research and to educate myself on the basis of what I wanted to know and what I wanted to do, and not what the system was telling me I had to do if I was going to progress within its programming machine.
OK, well, I think that kind of deserves a little bit of a clap there. You've got that far. Left school at 15. He worked down the mine. No, you didn't. Now, talking of which, one of your books, we're going to have to do a shameless plug, The Perception Deception.
Yeah, it's that. I call it the perception deception because that's what it is. There is a massive manipulation of perception going on, and from perception comes action, comes behaviour, comes what we'll challenge, what we won't challenge, all from perception. It's all a mind game.
Right.
And once you realise that, the world starts to make sense.
I'll tell you this now, I don't know how long it took you to write it, but it's huge. That It's a huge book.
I learned all that at university. So.
You do need a degree. Right, we're running out of time. So we've got time. We're going to have to do some paper stories. Any really very quick comments from the panel, from the audience? Desmond, I know you wanted to quickly say something.
Degrees are useful, but people have to make informed choices and make them relevant.
Okay, yes, there are a lot of people nodding.
Yeah, of course.
Laura?
I mean, I'm a lawyer, so I needed my degree in law to be able to get where I got, so I do think they're relevant, but it's about education before education. There needs to be better advice for school leavers.
Sure, okay, let's quickly go to Eric. Eric, there's mention of vocational apprenticeships. Is that the way forward rather than degrees?
Yeah, I think it is a matter of choice, and it comes down to that good, solid careers advice and guidance that you get in school. But I will say that you don't have to go to university to develop those higher level skills. You can get them from apprenticeships, whether they're at GCSE level right up to graduate level, and I just think it's very misleading to kind of tell young people, or tell anybody who's looking to develop those skills, that it has to be a graduate
What do you mean
route.
misleading?
Well, I think it's almost, it's like the absolute the chap says here. It's like, you know, it's not it's not whether it's a university, it's which one. I think it's about providing, whether you're a young person, wherever you are at your career, with the options that you have available, and know that whatever option you choose to go down, you will develop those skills.
Do you think, though, in years ago, people used to look down at polytechnics, because if you went to university, you were brilliant. If you went to polytechnics, you weren't that bright. Do you think that's the same sort of thing with apprenticeships? Do you think people look down on apprenticeships, to be honest? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think down south they do. I grew up in the northeast, and you had the equivalent of a YTS scheme then, and it was another form of education and training. Okay. But I think down in the south, then yes, it is. But I think that's changing. Okay. I think as more and more young people get involved.
I'd also like to say that even if you look at apprenticeships, when you get into higher level apprenticeships, the training skill that accompanies that is at degree level. So it's just a different entry route into the access of those particular skills or that particular program.
Okay.
So I think it's making young people aware that there are different entry routes to acquire higher level skills, but they are delivered in a university setting.
Shayi, you know, obviously it worked for you with your degree. Do you think if Labour do win the general election, or if it's a coalition, or if they win outright, do you think they have to attack or address, because the tuition fees are just getting higher and higher?
I think they're currently looking at what they can do to try and reduce it, because it did triple under this current government. And also they are thinking about and looking at the forgotten 50%, which is those that do want to take vocational and apprenticeship and go down that route. And on your point about is that frowned upon, is that seen as the non-brighter route? Yes, in my college it was horrible to see the segregation between A-levels and B-Tech, and that needs to change.
Right, newspaper stories. You've each got one that you'd like to share with us. David, have you got yours? Or
yeah, I think I took Ukraine and the ceasefire. This is something that is not the end of the story. It's just a point in the story. Ukraine was...
Well, Russia have announced that a ceasefire, haven't they?
Yeah, Ukraine was subject to an external coup via the Willy Wonka chocolate magnate Poroshenko, who was just a front for the European Union and the United States. And on my website just last week was posted a speech by a Ukraine politician in the Ukraine Parliament in 2013, in which he outlined the fact that he had uncovered that there was going to be a coup in Ukraine to remove the government, and it was being hatched through the United States Embassy in Kiev, and exactly what he says in that speech has unfolded since.
Okay, in your opinion. Okay, what paper story have you got?
HSBC debacle and tax refugees in Switzerland.
Yes.
And
poor David Cameron, the Prime Minister's began a rough ride.
To be honest, it's gone across two administrations, and for me, having people who run their own businesses in my family and having to pay their tax, I think it's outrageous that some people, because of their high wealth individuals, are able to spirit away their money in Switzerland and not be called to task. And the other thing is, I feel that the HMRC has a duty to collect as much tax as possible, because when you look at the public sector and how squeezed hospitals, housing, all of those things are, they're doing the public a great disrespect by not carrying out their duties efficiently.
OK, thank you. And Shayi?
Yeah, my story is about universities wanting to or have action to remove the Bible from halls, and also Travelodge has begun to do the same and removing it from their bedrooms because of diversity reasons. I understand that we don't want to impose one religion over the other, but I hope this is not a growing intolerance against Christianity. That's my fear.
OK, does anyone agree or want to come back on that?
Well, I mean, in terms of the tax, people, they're starting to see it now, I'm sure, more and more. There is two worlds happening within one. There's one for the 1%, which, according to Oxfam figures very recently, the 1% globally now own 48% of the world's wealth. And when you've got that level of power, you don't do little things like follow the same laws as the rest of the great unwashed, as they see us. So what is come to light here is just a tiny little chink of light in a massively dark cesspit of manipulation and privilege and exploitation.
Right, thank you for your short little conclusion there.
I'm unanimous in this.
Well, I think, I'm sorry, Shayi, I think you need to go to politics, David. Don't you think? He's got a lot of people listening to you today. We've run out of time. It's been absolutely lovely having you in. If people, I was going to say campaign for, you could do a little plug. We've had the UKIPs on and the Tories on. So
yeah, I would say vote Labour, but also I'm working on a campaign to get the London election next year to be the voting age to be reduced to 16. So I'd like to challenge Boris to be able to say, look, let's do what Scotland's done. Let's get those young people engaged with politics.
And do you think people will vote in this year's election in terms of, I know over 18s here in the UK?
Yeah, it's been really hard to engage people to vote on the door. So there's a lot of work for parties, all parties, to engage with voters.
And UEL doing really well. It's got some lovely acclaims at the university.
Absolutely, and I feel that we have a place in the community. We're a community-based institution. We really work with our students come from the 5 most deprived boroughs in the country, and some of the most deprived boroughs. Okay. And I feel that a university like ours has a place and is doing a good job.
Wonderful. You've got an MBE, so hello. that's acclaimed in itself. David, your book, we can get it from David Icke, I suppose.
DavidIcke.com.
As simple as that.
That's where the headlines are every day that put the world into context, by the way.
I love this man. Thank you very much. And thank you to our lovely audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. And thanks very much. Thanks very much to you for watching. You've given us a chance to be nominated for a big international TV award. Thank you so much. It's the last show in the season. Who knows when we'll be back? Hopefully it will be soon. And thanks to the University of East London for being fantastic venue hosts. I hope to see you soon. Whatever you're doing, look after each other. Jerry Springer used to say that. Have a great time. You've been watching Real Talk. Bye-bye. It was take care of